I'm gonna talk to y'all today about the NFL. It's got some strange origins. Not gonna lie. It goes back 90 years. I'd say closer to 95 now. Gambling industry has always been tied to the NFL. Always. And towards the end, I'm gonna give you an estimate here as of late how much business the gambling industry has done for the NFL. One thing you have to understand, it's got some goofy origins to this whole entire narrative. Walter Camp with Amos Alonzo Stagg, Pop Warner, Field H. Yost, and George Hollis. What do they all have in common? They went to Yale. They were members of Skull and Bones. The NFL's very roots has been founded by a sinister, and I stress the word sinister, secret society. Why would you support organizations with a checkered past? Oh yeah, let me add one more name to that. On Heisman. You know, the Heisman Trophy. The Heisman Trophy was named after him. But hold on. Connie Mack. They went from Skull and Bones to bringing in this gentleman here, and he was a member of the Freemasons. So you made matters worse by bringing in Freemasons. The NFL did its damnedest to stay in business in the 1960s. It became the AFL and provided direct competition. Another group of teams. I'm going to tell you how much they were backstabbers to each other. Al Davis, who was the owner of the Oakland Raiders at that point in time, did his damnedest to sabotage all the NFL teams. Again, like I told you, they were into the major gambling. Back then it was horse racing, and now football. It's sad though. That's a weird looking Hall of Fame building if I'd have known any better. A giant cone coming out of the top of the roof. If one thing the NFL figured out, it was in the late 60s, early 70s. The NFL figured out they had a cash cow. People would come to the games. They sell merchandise. They buy tickets. Blah, blah, blah. They had the people sucked in. But then they started making some changes because they wanted to get a little greedy. For about a 73-year stretch, the NFL got this crazy idea of making themselves a non-profit. They could get out of paying taxes. Sure, why not? Pay the players what we want to pay them. We can fix things up, do a little this, do a little that. Don't have to pay a dime. They got away with this for 73 years. Now, apparently in 1972, the National District Attorneys Association endorsed a position of professional leagues in opposing proposed legislation of gambling on professional team sports. Just one problem. Somebody forgot to tell that to Las Vegas. NFL was doing it. NBA's doing it. What's that mean? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me the outcomes could be affected by gambling decisions? Maybe. It came 1973. For some reason, the referees had to start being equipped with wireless microphones for all preseason, regular season, playoff games. Why would they need that kind of equipment? Makes you wonder, don't it? It was in 77 they decided to start adding side judges. You know, get a nice little image, create some controversy, make the game a little more interesting. You add another point of view as far as decisions they got to make. You create a difficult situation where you create the controversy. They also decided that they felt they had such a cash cow. They went ahead and went from 14 games in 1977 and booted up the next season to 16. From that point forward, NFL players played 16 weeks of football. See, by the end of the decade, networks, and don't mind Fox, because back then it was just these three here, are fighting to get that money as well. They were fighting to get a cut of that pie. Now, CBS ended up winning the bid. got 27 episodes for one season of football. They also got the Monday Night Football spot. So see, these networks were jumping on to make that cash, make that money. They knew they had a cash cow. Even the networks had to get involved.
No, Ted, I didn't think they'd do it in the first place, so I can't tell how long it's going to go. For the first time in the 63-year history of the NFL, a strike will stop play. The Players Association's Executive Committee decided at a meeting today that work stoppage will begin immediately following tonight's game between New York and Green Bay. Browns player Rep was cornered.
Nothing worse. Nothing worse than a player strike. That's what happened in 1982. These players were griping they weren't making enough money for the things they were doing, for what they were playing. Really? As you would see down the road, this will get ridiculous, man. Believe me, the NFL is making a killing on top of what they made on the regular. Here's another kicker. It gets better. This is what the gambling industry, just for the yearly Super Bowls, I'm telling you, this is going to blow your mind. 2007, $8.71 billion. 2008, 9.47. 2009, 9.56. 2010, 8.87 billion. And it kept climbing and climbing and climbing. 2016, it reached all-time highs, $15.53 billion. This year, right here, $15.3 billion the Super Bowl. When it comes to the Super Bowl and gambling, this is the gambling industry's Black Friday. The stats don't lie. You see, the team's logos themselves have MK Ultra agendas. Make a comparison with the Ravens, with what you see on the right. It is an assault on your mind, power and persuasion. Change happens when we wake up to the majority. You think this is a legitimate business? No, man. Assault on your mind from sexualization, mind control, subliminals. There's definite subliminals in these freaking games, man. If it ain't the team logos themselves, it's on the game itself. People need to wake up. Hell, I love being a patriotic American, but damn, this is ridiculous. Why would the NFL take money, okay, to be patriotic? I'm going to give you some shattering numbers. You want a scary revelation? In 2015, there was a joint oversight report that nearly $5.4 million in taxpayer dollars was paid out to 14 NFL teams between 2011 and 2014. Overall, they reported 3 displays of paid patriotism were included, with $6.8 million that the Department of Defense has spent on sports marketing contracts since fiscal year 2012. It gets worse. NFL was one of 5 major sports organizations to receive a share of $53 million in marketing and advertising with professional sports organizations between 2012 and 2015. This is really going to make your blood boil. You guys are knowing about this, taking the knee thing that Colin Kaepernick and a lot of these other players were doing. I'm going to tell you some BS right here. But did you know that until 2009, no NFL player, keywords, no NFL player, unless they chose to, no NFL player stood up for the national anthem. The players stayed in the locker room as the anthem played. The NFL teams got patriotic in recent years because it was good for business. Ain't that some crazy mess? Then you got the Super Bowl halftime show. They pay millions of dollars to perform big time. And then you get some unexpected things happen, like, I don't know, maybe this young lady right here has a wardrobe malfunction, or they promote an agenda, do some weird ritual type stuff. You don't need to see that. Illuminati symbols, satanic rituals, weird images, weird messages, promoting agendas to get people angry, get people upset. I heard a story about Beyonce, how she rode in a police car and gets out here and does this halftime show involving Black Panthers and All that racist mess, no respect. No respect for law enforcement. You have to figure, during this decade, early part of this decade, we had controversies with shootings, whether it was Trayvon Martin or Michael Brown or Freddie Gray. She had no care in the world. Remember, in one of my videos, I talked about how she sold herself to the devil. Weird type agendas, all-seeing eye, New World Order kind of stuff. But don't worry about that. You just need to focus on the show. That's what you paid to see, right? You thought the ram was there because it was a logo and not because that's a satanic symbology? Did you forget? You think the Denver Broncos made that white horse on accident? Let me show you something. The logo idea would come from this. The infamous white horse. The white horse in the book of Revelation, talking about Armageddon. But y'all too busy worrying about which team's gonna win. Oh, don't worry, I'm about to get that to hear next. You about to hear a shocking admission by Ray Lewis. I remember this Super Bowl. I actually liked this Super Bowl. And sadly to say, it was the last good one I watched.
A lot of time left in the game, but I'm already worried about the clock stop.
Why's the clock stopped?
Oh, it was kind of, I don't know what to think. It was just crazy.
With 13:28 left in the third quarter, and somehow a massive outage of power in New Orleans Superdome has put this game on hold.
I'm not going to accuse nobody of nothing because I don't know facts. But you a $1 zillion company and your lights go out. No. $1 zillion company? Ain't no way. Now listen, if you grew up like I grew up, and you grew up in a household like I grew up, then sometimes your lights might go out. Because times get hard. I understand that. But you cannot tell me somebody wasn't sitting there, and when they say the Ravens about to blow them out, man, we better do something.
To win this game no matter how long it takes.
No matter how long it takes.
There's no weapon. Not even a power outage.
You think for a minute that these are unintentional halftime shows? That they're just using random symbols and stuff? Yeah, right, man. I already told you she sold out some time back. Why you think she's doing this? Of course, it's for fame and fortune, but she's one of the servants. Primordial goddess rises up out of the floor. Man, give me a break. I don't want to see this mess, man. This was Super Bowl 46, by the way. Remember this guy? He went to jail for a supposed murder. Not on drugs before suicide. Wrote Illuminati in blood. Raises some serious questions. Most importantly, why would he do this? He wasn't on drugs. Killed himself. When they know they owe the man, what else do they do? Do you not see symbolism in that image? Like how that stadium's shaped. That's crazy, ain't it? Why would you go to these games? Here's a statistic nobody knew about. Geometria study. 60 birds die every fall. U.S. stadium kills an historic 60 birds every fall. They don't want these birds being around this building. And they willing to get rid of these birds by any means necessary. Now, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the outcome. I could tell you that the Patriots were in the Super Bowl the last decade. Give me a second. You know what? I will do it. Because you need to know. There it is. 2002. Super Bowl 36. Rams, Patriots. You know why they wanted the Patriots to win? 9/11. Get the crowd back into a patriotic mood. You support the Patriots, man. Didn't you know? Come on now. You knew the outcome was coming. I can do one better. This one had the Saints and Colts. Why do you think the Saints won? I'll tell you why. NFL wanted to show the world that the Saints were back. New Orleans was back. Back from 5 years after a hurricane. Not making that up, folks. When you got mastermind players like Tom Brady and this young man right here, you can do a lot. So what did this meaning mean? You got two somewhat patriotic teams. You got the Eagles, you got the Patriots. Well, turns out the Eagles won. See, notice something here. You got a blue format there for this logo here. Like a blue wave. Like the Democratic blue wave. Patriots once, they think, okay, blue wave's coming. We're going to hit hard. We're going to hit good. We're going to take back our government and get out Donald Trump. People don't want to hear that part about politics. I'm here to tell you, that's a prediction. The details, all about the details. You got to look over the details. And the NFL's gotten so goofy, okay? Now, when the time's right, I'll do a 9/11 show. But for these people, they want to pay homage to the victims of 9/11. Fury over NFL crackdown on players, 9/11 tribute cleats. That's BS, man. But it gets worse.
They should be part of the community. So then, as a coach, my challenge would be, well, what's the best way to help these guys get their message across? And the best way is not 3 minutes before the national anthem. I think we need to work together on this thing. And when I was coaching, I always told my players, I don't want you to just be football players. I want you to be part of the community and make Tampa, make Indianapolis a better place to live. So if you give that challenge to the players, and then when they have things on their mind that they're concerned about, you can't say, well, don't talk about that, or that shouldn't be an issue, just play. No, they need a voice and they want to be heard. So how can we help them be heard and get their points out? And I would say to them, let's not do it during the national anthem. Let's do it during national press conference. We've got everybody here. I'll give you a chance to have that voice. I want you to be able to articulate your concerns, your solutions, what you want done. Tell about what you're doing now to help the situation. You want to raise awareness, I'm going to give you a much bigger platform.
I want to agree with him, but I'm about to show you something as to why this is going on. When you got a Nazi sympathizer funding the NFL, that makes it even worse. Let me see this. I'm going to read this to y'all. Even before its feud over national anthem with President Trump, the NFL Players Association wasn't on the same political team as many of its fans, judging from its contributions to leftist advocacy groups. Tax documents showed that by second vote showed the NFLPA donated $5,000 in 2015 to the Center for Community Change Action, a group active in the anti-Trump resistance and bankrolled by a host of liberal foundations, including top Democratic donor George Soros' Foundation for Open Society. Remember the AFL-CIO, the NFLPA, also contributed in 2013-2015 to Working America. The AFL-CIO's community affiliate with Open Secrets said it spent $1 million in 2016 to defeat Trump. Working America has since mobilized against a Republican tax cut framework, denouncing it as a Trump tax scam. The NFLPA contributed $5,000 in 2014 to Jobs with Justice, another pro-union group backed by who? Backed by who? George Soros. People, y'all need to wake up, man. You have a Nazi collaborator funding things that have to do with the NFL. Stop watching these damn games. I want to hit this right quick before I wrap this up. Remember how the Superdome was plunged into darkness there in Super Bowl 47 with the Ravens and the 49ers? Don't think that wasn't planned. Think about who was in the football game. The Ravens. A creature of darkness. That was symbology. That was right after Beyonce shook her little tail. Superdome powered it. They were saying, oh, well, the power went out. That's what happened. We had electrical issues. You got to figure we're still trying to figure things out after Hurricane Katrina. And they had it figured out. It was an agenda, folks. Y'all need to start waking up. Illuminati messages, shows at the halftime show trying to sport Masonic symbols, Illuminati symbols, satanic symbols. When are y'all going to get it? Sports industry is rigged because of gambling, and they're not going to stop. In fact, the Supreme Court this year ruled it's okay for them to make more money. And go ahead and make more money. I don't care. Am I going to watch them? No. Why? I have no use for them.
That had the biggest impact on you on Sunday.
You know, it's funny. Maggie, as you know, I write my column late into the night on Sunday into Monday. And I don't know, it was about 1:20 a.m. this morning where I saw on Twitter something about you've got to listen to what Josh Norman said about Donald Trump. And so there was about a 2-minute and 20-second clip of his post-game press conference. And he had one of the most amazing things I think I've ever heard a player say in a post-game press conference, which in essence was, am I American? You know, am I really free? And he said, this is not acceptable, and I'm getting choked up right now just talking about it. I mean, it was so interesting because Washington had a huge win over the Oakland Raiders. And here are players, which happened in every locker room, in 14 locker rooms, or 14 stadiums, 28 locker rooms around the NFL. The conversation after a game was at least as much, if not more, about the divisive comments of Donald Trump on Friday night. So that's really what will stick with me.
Jonathan, you were at the Panthers-Saints game. Panthers, the only team who did not have any...
There's a lot of pressure after the sort of avalanche of statements began. I think the New York Giants were first. Maybe Jed York was second of the 49ers. Then the avalanche of statements began, and if you didn't make one, then everybody said, well, why didn't you make a statement? And so clearly, Jerry Jones, who's now in the rebel camp of the NFL, and Jerry Jones, who, by the way, contributed to the, I think, the inauguration of Donald Trump, gave $1 million to the inaugural fund of Donald Trump, which several owners did. And Maggie, I think that goes to the point of, look, this is an uncomfortable topic for people all over the country.
There's nothing uncomfortable about it. NFL sold out. When are you people going to get it? It's not about politics. It's about agenda. You have a Nazi collaborator pulling shenanigans. The NFL's not getting paid to stand up to the anthem. So now they're taking this so-called knee and, oh, I am oppressed. I'm oppressed. How can you be oppressed and have millions of dollars? Slaves were oppressed. My ancestor who came over here from freaking Ireland was oppressed. You are money-grubbing titty babies that's trying to push an agenda. And I'm tired of it. Folks, let me give you a new phrase to walk away to. Don't just walk away from the Democratic Party. Walk away from the NFL. It has nothing to do with just agenda. Gambling. They make billions of dollars off gambling. They made money off of you for so long. They made money off taxpayer funds. When are y'all gonna get it? Huh? Burn your burn your jerseys, because they ain't worth having. Folks, please share the video.